Holocaust. Even today, it is a word and a memory that strikes fear into the hearts of Jewish people. During World War II, it was a reality. While some escaped, most were destined to endure the horrors of this dark period in human history. Of the more than 6 million Jewish people who died, 1.5 million were children. Zvi Kalisher is one of those who survived. His story, in the early stages, is reminiscent of the biblical book of Esther. God is not consciously represented, yet he is obviously present and at work. We're here in Warsaw, Poland, and I'm standing before one of the last artifacts of the infamous ghetto wall, behind which Jewish people were penned up to die. It was a time of Adolf Hitler's infamous final solution to the Jewish problem, and the people who lived here were only waiting for a move to places like Treblinka and Auschwitz, the death camps that saw 3 million Jewish people perish here in Poland alone. It was a devastating time for humanity, but it was also a time of triumph. It was a time of heroism. It was a time actually when, above and beyond it all, the grace of God was shown in magnificent ways. One of those trophies of the grace of God is here with me today, and really we're here to tell his story. Zvi, it's wonderful to be able to welcome you back to Poland after over 50 years as a survivor and as a man who has taken and is still in the process of taking an incredible journey. Let's take it together. Born Heinrich Weikert in Warsaw, Poland, his name would be changed to hide his identity. And finally, upon his immigration to Israel, he would adopt as his Hebrew name, Zvi. For many years, Mendel and Ruth Weikert lived happily with their 5 children in a quiet neighborhood in Warsaw. In 1939, as the Nazi war machine rolled into Poland, their lives, like their country, were cruelly shattered. Within weeks, Zvi's 3 older brothers, Arthur, Hirsch, and Jacob, were taken by the Nazis and transported by train to Germany. There they were put to work as forced laborers. As Hitler's intentions became clear, the Weikerts spent anguished hours plotting a way to save their youngest children. The outlook for their daughter Tima was not bright. She would have to stay with them and share their uncertain future. But they had formulated a daring plan that might just save Heinrich. Amazingly, while all the buildings across the street were destroyed in the war, what was once the Weikert home still stands. Zvi had not been here since he was a 10-year-old boy. The sight of the house brought back a flood of memories. Zvi, this must be a very emotional moment for you. You've just come out of the house
Yeah.
that was your home until you were 10 years old. What did you think when you went in the house and walked around?
You know, when I was in the house, this is like I come for the morning. You know,
Yes,
this
yes,
was not from joy I come. I come to think about what I passed. And when
yes,
I come inside, I saw the picture, what I have not seen during 58 years.
yes. And this is the first time you've been
The
back to this
first
house?
time what I come here.
Zvi, I know your mother was very precious to you. We have talked about her from time to time.
Yeah.
When you went in the house, what did you think about your mother? Tell us about your mother.
You know, my mother was like every mother, she loved her children, and I was the youngest, and she, I don't know what for special love she had to me. And when come the war and start the hunger, what she, I don't know what come to her head, that she said that I will take you to the orphanage, and with those words I survived.
We're here at the orphanage in Warsaw, where Zvi was brought by his mother as a 10-year-old boy through the gate and up the path then. She disguised his identity so that no one here would know that he was Jewish and took him to the orphanage. Zvi, it was a bad beginning for you.
The beginning was very hard. The first time in my life to separate from the parents, she brought me, shall I be survive? And for this she gave also her life. And the last words what she told me, few times she told me this word, be strong, you know.
Yes.
10 years old, what for courage you have? And be a man. I never heard such words. But the most important, you shall never say that you are a Jew. But not worry, with all this, once in a week I will come visit you. And of course I was quiet. I know that once in a week, this is not 1 year, I was looking also to the window here.
And when your mother went through that gate and left you that day, from that day till now, you've never seen her again.
I never saw her again more.
Orphanage life was hard for the young boy, but he heeded his mother's words and remained strong, never allowing the tears to show. The time at the orphanage, however, proved useful. He learned the German language, an invaluable skill that would save his life on many occasions. Not long after he came to the orphanage, the boys were taken to Berlin to be trained with the members of the Hitler Youth. Fortunately, because of his small stature, Zvi was rejected from service and given a return ticket home. Upon his arrival in Poland, he began to search in earnest for his family. By the time Heinrich arrived back home, the Jews of Warsaw and the surrounding countryside had been forced into the infamous Warsaw Ghetto. In such extremely overcrowded conditions, as one would expect, starvation and disease were rampant. It was nothing more than a place of death and despair. But for Heinrich, if there was any hope of finding his parents, he would have to look in the ghetto. Zvi, we're standing here before one of the sewers that was actually in the ghetto of Warsaw. You came in through these sewers with other children carrying food often, but when you came, where did you come from? How far?
This is about 200 meters from the Polish side.
Underground?
Underground. This was not only underground, but this was in the sewers.
In the very sewers?
And it was very bad air,
yes,
and stink, and also many rats.
Yes.
But I was not thinking, all my mind, it was in the first time, how I will find my family.
Yes, so when you came looking for your parents, did you find them?
I don't find no one, because when I ask people here, and especially one whom I know, where maybe you saw my father or mother or like this, what they told me, he was smiling to me. Even he was near to die because he was skeleton. He told me, you see, here is no father, no mother, no sister, no brother. You can keep yourself how good is. If not, you see me, you see the garbage, that means the bodies. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, you will be thrown out on the garbage. So it's better for you, keep yourself.
Yes. Now, when you came out of the sewer, the first time when you came, and you looked at this place, which is now a beautiful park,
Now,
what did you see?
when I come out from this place, I couldn't see these parks. That was streets, thousands of bodies dying, skeletons walking on the street and shouting for help. And you look on them, you couldn't help. So I decided also to risk with my life, like the other children, and we done what we can to help the others, and we were not thinking about our life also this time.
Heinrich made the trip through the rancid sewers many times, bringing food to those inside and searching for his family. But after a time, the route through the sewer was discovered and the entrance sealed. Heinrich was now trapped in the ghetto. We're sitting here in the plaza of the memorial to the Warsaw ghetto, Svi. You spent much time in here coming through the sewers looking for your parents. You said people were dead, dying. How did you feel when you heard the clatter of the carts that were coming down the street that were stacked with bodies? Could you believe? How did you feel about that?
You know, the first time my eyes were looking on this, but I couldn't believe I see this. I was looking and asked many questions for myself this time, if this can be, because I never have seen death.
But the people who did not die here, who did not starve to death here, this was a way station on the way to the death camp of Treblinka, wasn't it?
This was the Umschlagplatz. They took them and they brought them to Treblinka and Majdanek, not Auschwitz, not other camps. Straight from the train to the gas oven.
Jews who survived the Warsaw Ghetto were transported by rail to the death camps of Treblinka and Majdanek. If the Weikerts survived the ghetto, they would have been among those packed into these cars. For hours and sometimes days, the trains would stand on side tracks, allowing other transports to pass. Already weakened by malnutrition and disease, many of the deportees died before reaching their destination. In the end, over 750,000 people would die at Treblinka. 125,000 more would perish at Majdanek. See, we're standing here in a boxcar that's littered with debris. But over 50 years ago, this car was filled with another type of debris. The Nazis regarded Jews as less than humans, and they crammed them into these boxcars and hauled them to the death camps. It's a somber thing to come in here and look at this and think about what happened in such cars as this. To me, it's a terrible thing. But what must it mean to you?
Yes, I can understand this feeling for you, but my feeling is not the same feeling as yours. You feel that you read the books, you saw the movies, could be, but my feeling is another way. I passed this. My family passed this. My family went through the Holocaust.
And the sole purpose in bringing these people on these cars was death. The heat in this place from probably 200 people, men, women, and children, was not only unbearable, it was lethal to many people. We stand here today and we look out and we see a bit of sun out of this window.
Yeah.
But these windows were sealed for the people whose death was sealed in the death camps.
You know, the windows, what you see now, this is here open. But in the time when they brought the people to the death camps, no windows. The windows were closed with iron, no air, nothing. And they put people like sardines inside.
And the odors and the memories never die.
Yes, this is it.
We're here before what was the train station in the village of Treblinka. Svi, we're looking at some tracks that were laid many, many years ago. And really these tracks were, in a sense, only one way. Can you explain that to us?
This was the tracks, it was to the village here before the war. It was a Polish train station, a small one, but after they make longer, and this was the longer one, it was to the death camps.
Who built this track?
Of course the Jews. They brought the Jews. They were working like the slaves, and without to know that this is the last day of them.
Now, when the Jewish people were taken from the Warsaw ghetto to this place, Treblinka, what did they tell them?
They told them they bring them for work. They have to work and they will receive everything. And of course, many people, they don't know. They come like the ships to the slaughter. And they also wrote a song in Yiddish, what I remember. Treblinka dort, vor jedem Mensch dus geht der Ort, wer kommt, verbleibt dort. In die Waggonen, this is Treblinka there. Who come there, it never come back.
It's a one-way.
One way.
Now, explain the difference between this camp, Treblinka, and many of the so-called concentration camps.
Yes, concentration camps, they produced many things for the Germans. But here, the Treblinka, this was a camp unknown. People don't know it because this is in a hiding place. This is in a forest. And this was not a camp for a work. 800,000 were killed here in a short time.
So Treblinka, in a very real sense, was only a place for killing, that's all.
This was, you know, the people come like the sheep to the slaughter, without to know.
You know, Svi, it appears that this is a memorial of some kind to the railroad and the platform that delivered the Jews to the gas chambers at Treblinka.
Yes, this is the witnessing, living witness when they come to trains and they brought to the platform and they took the Jews here out and where they brought them to the gas chambers from here. And this was automatic. This was not waiting 2 days or 2 hours. In the same minute and everything, it must be very quick. And when they shout schnell in German. This is quick. And the people were running and they don't know that they are running to the gas chambers.
We're standing before this massive monument here at Treblinka, this terrible place. As we were coming up to this monument, we saw etched in stones down by the road the names of the countries from which the people died who came to this place. Now we're standing literally in a sea of stones around us, very big ones. So what do they say to us?
What they say, they represent those people who are not more. They represent those die, and the stones are living until now. They will represent maybe generations of generations. And when I come here, I look, maybe some stones also represent my families.
What do you think, realistically, are the chances of your parents having perished here?
Could be because, as I told you before, that my parents were in Warsaw Ghetto. In Warsaw Ghetto, that was only one direction with a train to Treblinka. This was the one way what they brought them here. The stone monuments, they can say everything. They don't have to speak. This living witness.
You know, Svi, when someone comes to Treblinka, as we have today, one of the things that he notices immediately is that this is a deep and dark forest. There are really no open areas here. Why do you think the Germans put this place where they did?
Because this is the deep, dark forest they brought here, that the secret will not go out to the world. And this is a hiding place, and no one will know. We don't think about that thousands of thousands were brought here to be killed, to be murdered, to be burned in the gas oven. You see the trees in the thousands, but you see those people who were killed that are few times more as the trees. And this was a good hiding place for the German. Shall not be popular for the world what they done. The most high educated nation like German.
So the Germans put it here not only to hide it from their own people, but most of all to hide it
From
from
all
the
the world.
eyes of the world, knowing that the trees don't
Cannot
talk.
speak, yes.
As his body slowly wasted away, Heinrich knew he could not stay in the ghetto. His options were reduced to two: die of starvation or risk being shot attempting to escape. One night, realizing it was his only hope, he jumped the wall. When you came over this wall, Svi, you were only a boy.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I was about 13 years old.
And this must have looked like a formidable obstacle for you to get over.
You know, what I had one hope is to come on the wall and jump down. But to jump down, I was sure that 99.9 I will die.
But this wall was patrolled by Germans, and when you jump down between them.
They were sitting and they were surprised when I jumped. They don't know what to do. And in this time, I have no time also to think 1 second. And I ran away. I don't know how I was success. The Germans were shooting, you know, like a rain. And I come out with my bones.
Svi, we're standing today in a lovely forest. You know, people could come and picnic here. It's a beautiful place. But for you as a boy, when you were trying to survive on the roads of Poland, you spent many a night in the woods just like this, didn't you?
I spent many nights because I was hidden from the Germans, but I have to be survived. How? It was cold. Poland, it is not summer all the time. I find another way. I have find leaves. I put leaves under my body, and with leaves I cover myself. And in such way, many nights I was hidden in such forest.
And so the woods were a very good place to a very young boy.
For me, the woods were good.
Life on the road was hard for the young boy who had become a struggling war waif. For now, he would have to give up the search for his family and concentrate on surviving. Food was scarce and work was hard to find. Everyone was suspicious of the blonde-haired kid with the sunken facial features.
You see, I ran away from Warsaw ghetto because I was sure that if I will stay even one day, I will die. I was stone and bones. Until I come here, I passed many villages, and no one wanted to receive me for work. When I come here, I don't know that here are living more than 80% of Germans who born here. They're not German from Germany, but those German who born in Poland in this village. And those German who born in Poland, they were worse as the German from Germany.
They had taken over the land of the Polish people.
They took all the land, and those farmers, the Polish farmers, what they were living around, they had to be like slaves to those German farmers.
So when you came to the door to this one farm where a German lived, and he answered the door, what did he look like?
He looked like really the Hitler's Germans, Nazi.
Yes.
And even he had a schnurrbart.
Little mustache.
Yeah, little mustache.
Now when you stayed with him, Svi, where did you sleep? Did he give you a bedroom?
Yes, he gave me a salon, a nice bedroom with the cows, with the swines, on the straw, and they lies in the millions.
Well, now then, one night, he gave a message to you, actually to his wife in German, but you understood.
Yeah.
That changed the course of your life.
What the message was, that two of his sons died in the East Front by the Russian. And of course, he won't take revenge. He will be happy if he can take revenge. Against whom? Against me. I am guilty that his sons died. What he done? He asked his wife, not he asked his wife, but he told her, what you think, Aliza, if I will kill this Polish swine tonight? In German, when he told her, she said, yeah, do what you want. I was listening, I was smiling. I make myself that it was not for me, that I don't know nothing, because he knows that I don't know German, but I know German much better as him. What he told me, Heinrich, tomorrow you have not to work. I will give you rest because you are a child, you work very hard, and we will give you rest. I told him, you are a very nice man. I am very thankful. But what I done, I was not waiting for his rest. If I would wait for his rest, I would be with the 6 million.
When you were living with the Adolf Hitler lookalike, there was one thing he did for you that was very important.
Yes, he come to me, he told me, you have documents? I told him, no. Why? Because you see, I am a child, I don't know. I never had documents. So, and he brought me to one place, make me a picture. I give him also my name, the date of my birth, the name also not my name, it was false name, a Polish name.
Yes.
And he, because he was very famous by the Nazis, he come to the government on the horse. In half hour he brought me the document.
But for a Jewish boy who was keeping the cows, that document meant life.
This give me life, because you know, without document you cannot move 1 meter. On every step where you are going, the German come, the Gestapo, the SS, every place, Ausweis, documents.
The enterprising young Heinrich made several shrewd business arrangements during his stay in the country. The first of these would allow him the wherewithal to survive the bitter cold of the Polish winter. When you were working for the German farmer, looking after the cows and other animals on the place, you also had some relationships with some very interesting people. One of them was with the postman and his family. Tell us about that, Svi.
What I want to tell you, the postman, when he come with the letters, he meet me few times, and he don't make with me a relationship because he loves me so. It was a situation that this postman, he has few children, and he don't receive the food for the Polish people. They don't receive the food as the Germans. And of course he was hungry. His children were hungry. One day he come to me and told me, maybe you will help me. It was very cold, 30 below zero. I told him, with what? With food. I told him, you see me, you can see without clothing, 30 below zero. Lice eating me from all sides of the body. How can I help you now? So he told me, we will make a good business. I told him, what for business? You will bring me food, I will bring you clothing. And of course, we make the business, we make the deal. Every day I stolen some eggs, chicken, potatoes, and we make a hiding place. And a hiding place that he knows where is it. It is like here the tree, you can see here, a hole inside, no one saw it. And he know the place, and every time when he come brought clothing, so he took the food and he put the clothing. And this was the deal, and this was the relationship what we had with one with another.
And you helped that man get through the war, and he helped you get
yes,
warm.
in such way.
Yes. See, behind us is the Vistula River that runs through the heart of Warsaw.
Yeah.
And almost through the entire country of Poland. You crossed this bridge like these trucks and cars are passing the bridge today many times.
Many times, yeah.
In and out of Warsaw. You were going out to find food, back in to look for your parents.
Yeah.
But one occasion, you were coming back to Warsaw, you saw some fire in the sky. Tell me about that.
Whole the Warsaw was burned. The ghetto Warsaw after the Polish Revolution, there was no house, it was not burned. And when I have crossed the Vista, this make me very, very upset what I have seen. And I couldn't forget this. This picture, what I see, a fire is a fire, but what I saw, the bodies, how they were burned, you know, like you put on fire some meat and make a picnic.
Yes.
So the people were burning on the fire.
So while you were watching the fire of Warsaw, the burning of a city, there was more burning than a city. There was a burning that was going on deep in your heart.
Yes, I was watching, not because I want to see the fire or to see a nice cinema. I was watching from pain. You know, many times I have not where to sleep, but when I come to such burn as here, I was feeling well, because this was a hidden place also. No one was thinking there's someone sleeping. Even I don't ask the farmers if I can come here. I come behind the door, and I slept here. And also what has happened, on the way when I was walking from village to village, I meet a boy. This boy, he was a Jew. And when I start to speak with him, he don't want to speak with me, he want to run away from me. But I told him, you see, I am a Jew. I don't believe you if you will not speak Yiddish. And I spoke with him Yiddish also. So he started to receive more confidence to me. And of course, we start to go. And I couldn't go with him in the day, because everyone will know that he is a Jew. He was in my age, but after all, I was feeling that I am responsible of him. I want that he shall stay by life. And what has happened, this boy, I couldn't understand. From one side, I understood him that he loved his parents. He ran away from ghetto. And now he wants to come back to his parents.
In the ghetto?
To the ghetto.
Yes.
He was on the police side. But what he told me, you know, I cannot live life, so I have to go to visit my parents. I told him, you see, I was suffering in Warsaw ghetto. That was the worst place under the sun. And I come out. Until I come out, they shoot after me like rain, the bullets. And now I am here, so you want shall put myself in such ghetto like Warsaw ghetto? I will not going. So he told me, you know, I won't visit only my parents and I will come. I told him, no, you will go to die. He come to a kiosk.
Yes.
And this one who sell a newspaper, tobacco.
Like a newsstand.
Yeah. And this man, he has also a box, what he put the money for the papers from this. What he done, this boy, he stolen the box and he start to run. And the man ran after him. And the boy don't saw that he fell in the hands of the Gestapo.
Ran right into a policeman?
Into his hand.
Oh.
And when the Gestapo, the police also saw him, his face, quick they could understand that he's a Jew. I was about 20 meters from him. I have seen this, the child couldn't speak even. They make him, you know, like nothing. And of course, I start to go by myself. And where I come back to Warsaw. And I cross the Wisla, the river. I come to work by a Polish farmer. Nic, ja miałem...
Jak pan wyjechał?
Kiedy?
Bez dokumentów wyjechał
Z
pan
Polski
z Polski.
potem.
Z Polski, tak.
Bez dokumentów.
This family, what I was working in 1943, and of course the father of the family is died before not long time, and he is this son, and I remember this son was born in 1943, and before he was born, I brought in the middle of the night, I went with it in middle of the night with the horses and brought the nurse, because it was not hospital, it was in the time of the Germans. It was very snow, very windy, a very bad weather in middle of the night, and I brought a nurse. I was working here about 1 year and 2 months. But after, when I was on the field with the cows, I left the cows and ran away.
Svi, memories, memories. We're here at the old train station in Warsaw as you knew it when you were a boy.
When I knew it, you know, this is 54 years back. But this was, I can say, for a long time, my hotel. I was sleeping in the train station. I was sleeping in the wagons. And of course, from other side, it was also what gave me food.
This is also a reminder, standing here, Svi, that this was not only a hotel for you, but was also the place where you got on the trains to ride. You rode all over Poland. Where? On top of these cars, you told me.
I was traveling with the trains, not inside because I have not money to pay. As we say, I belong to the VIP.
The VIP suite.
I never was inside, only on the roofs. And were many people who were traveling like me.
And you didn't know exactly where you were?
I never asked a question where the train is going. Sometimes it was times that I hear that we are in Bucharest. Sometimes we have been in Budapest. And one time I was in Berlin. And so we travel never inside the train like people were sleeping. We travel on the roof.
Yes, and as your mother said, be strong, be a man, and you persevered and survived. Heinrich's perseverance saved not only his life, but the lives of many others he came in contact with. As the war was drawing to a close, however, the limits of his endurance would be tested. There were times when you were traveling through Poland that you encountered the partisans. Once they gave you a job. These wires remind me of it. Tell us what they offered you.
One come and asked me the first, do you like the Germans? I was surprised, such question. Maybe he belonged to the Gestapo. Maybe he belonged to the Polish underground. I couldn't understand, but I played this time with my life, like a lottery of my life. I told him, you see, I don't like them, and you want, shall I kiss them also? So he told me, I love you. And of course, this word, I love you, I was thinking what for price I will have to pay for this word, I love you. And he gave me a wiring cutter, and he told me, you know, there is not far from here, there are many telephone wirings. If you will come there, there is the Hermann Göring's Division, headquarters, the Gestapo. You put the telephone wiring like them here. And when they will catch you, no one say that, shall never say where from you come or who sent you. I was not afraid. I don't know what is happening with me. I was so full of courage. I took it, the wiring cutter. I come, I cut it all the wirings, and I was sure that no one saw me. But when I come down for the pillar, come a Gestapo one with the blue uniform, and he surprised me. And of course they brought me to the headquarters of the Gestapo. I told him, you see, I find the wiring cutter, and this is what I done, I make a sport. I don't tell them who sent me nothing. So they have seen that is not, they cannot know nothing from me. So they start to beat me. They don't lost 1 centimeter of my skin. All was with blood. Many times I lost my conscience. So they push water on my body, and again the question, again the answer, the same answers. And I was near to die.
You thought you were going to die, did you?
Yes. So when I come out, one old lady, she saw me, so she was looking and she asked me, who done this to you? And she want to wash me from the blood. Yeah. And this time come the two from the Gestapo, they catched her, and I ran away to the same farmer where from I come.
Yeah, while they were struggling with her, you ran.
And what has happened, they were watching from their homes, from many observation places, if I come with the Germans, if someone follow after me. and they have seen that no, so they come help me. But after how long time? After 6 hours. But with the time when they come, one of the underground doctor, and he saw my body, and he called also a nurse, and they start to help me.
And to this day, you still wear the marks of that beating on your body.
There are some.
Heinrich was still recovering from his beating when the war ended. As he walked down the streets of Warsaw, he was greeted by Jewish people who had made it through and others who had been liberated from the death camps. It took days for him to comprehend that it was no longer a crime to be Jewish. He had heeded his mother's words, be strong, be a man, and he had survived. In the weeks and months that followed, Heinrich traveled extensively throughout Europe looking for a trace, any evidence at all, that at least some of his family had survived. He found none. In time, the young man's thoughts turned to the future. Where would he go from here? With the whole world before him, but for reasons he could not really explain, he chose the land of his ancestors, Israel. Although the British were limiting Jewish immigration to what was then called Palestine, the beleaguered survivors of Hitler's Europe would not be deterred. With their homes and lives destroyed, many felt they had nothing left to lose by running the British blockade to enter the land. We're standing here on a boat that looks hardly seaworthy to me, but this was the type of boat that you and some 500 or 600 others were jammed into when you left a small port near Marseille, France, for the trip to Israel. It was crowded conditions, hard time all around.
We come here on the boat. It was a boat for a fishing boat, a yacht, we can say.
Yes.
But we come on the boat, 500-600 people. And we come on the ship, and the ship were coming down and down. We were near to be sank. And we were on the ship 14 days. And when we were very close to Israel, we could see the mountains of Carmel. Everyone forget that is hungry, forget the 6 years of the Holocaust, forget everything. He looked to the future.
But then you saw the Carmel Mountains, but you also saw little airplanes circling over you.
Yes, I saw the airplanes, the English airplanes, and also the who come to receive us, a nice welcome. They come, the English cruisers, what they jump on our ship, and they take us to Haifa, and from Haifa to Cyprus.
So you went from this ship, after you thought you were home, into an internment camp and back behind the wire in Cyprus.
Yes.
It must have been a terrible thing for these young Holocaust survivors who had been behind the wire in Europe. They had seen their people die in the death camps. And now to be brought to this place, to Cyprus, to once again be behind the wire. It must have been more than many of them could take, Svi.
You know, for the young people, it was terrible or much. But for the older people who survived from the Holocaust like we, for them it was worse because they start to think deeper because their families, their children die.
Yes.
You know, and they think much from wiring to wiring, from a camp to another camp.
You were interned on Cyprus for 7 months and you
Yeah.
lived in a barracks much like this. What did people do to pass the time?
You know, we were living in such barracks, 40 people. Every barrack, 40 people. Now it's so, but before it was bed to bed, very close. And our free time, what we done on our empty stomach, we training for the for army trainings.
Learning to fight when you got to Israel.
fight, when we will come to Israel, we will be soldiers.
All ready to fight whoever
To
the
fight
enemy
for
would be.
independence of Israel.
Svi, how did the people in the camp react when they heard that Israel had become a state and knew that you were going back home?
Everyone was happy with a great joy also, and the dance. But from other side, they were thinking how we will have to pay, and this will be not with money, but with our blood.
But everybody was happy when you left the barbed wire at Cyprus, got onto a ship, and you knew you were going home to stay.
Of course, everyone was happy, and everything was forgotten. The past was forgotten this time because of the great joy.
And for the first time after 2,000 years, you were going home to your own country.
Yes.
Yes, they were going home, back to the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Sadly, however, many of these men, mere boys really, who had survived the horrors of Hitler's Europe, braved the blockades of the British, and trained in the internment camps of Cyprus, were coming to Israel to die. Svi, we're in a lovely place before the wheat fields of Latron. We looked at those a moment ago. Today they're beautiful. This monument, however, tells us another story about this valley. Many thought this was going to be a great victory for Israel.
Yeah.
But instead of a great victory, it was a tragic defeat. And there were so many that were cut down by the machine guns, so many who were stabbed by the Arabs after they were wounded.
You know, they make us a big ambush, the Arabs. We were not ready for this. And also we were not also so known about the army. Many people who don't know even the language.
Yes.
Many come from Poland, from Russia. And example, the officer gave an order, die. That's mean enough. And in Polish, die is go on.
So die means stop in one language and go forward in another.
Yes, another language.
Yes.
And so were many orders like this, that one couldn't understand another one. And many die also, and it was not enough. So also the Arabs make for us big ambushes.
Yes.
And here on this monument, 45 soldiers died. But 45, this was not the end of this.
Yes.
Because when we come forwards there, they fell much more.
So what you found here at Latron was that the army of Israel was not really an army at all at this point. It was simply a group of boys with guns going against a well-trained and determined fighting force. It was a hard lesson.
Yes, it was.
After the crushing defeat at Latron, you sat under a tree and did some thinking.
Yeah.
You thought back on your life and what had happened in Poland during the Holocaust and then here in Israel. And you changed your mind about your life, Svi. What changed?
This is the change that before I was not thinking about fate. I was not thinking there is God. I was by myself. I was not thinking about nothing. But when I have seen so many dead before my eyes, and I was near to be killed also, I have seen my good friends, how they fallen. And I was with them together in the same battle, in the same attack. And here I am staying by life. I was asking myself, who protect me? Here must be a power from heaven. This cannot be that I have been so strong. But when I have seen what has happened around me, and here, and in the whole time of the Holocaust, I start to believe in God, and I say there is someone who protect me, who put his hand on me.
Yes.
And this time, of course, I changed my feeling, my thinking.
And there's no question about the fact that viewing your life and looking back over Poland and Europe and the Holocaust and now the early days of your stay in Israel, there's no question that God miraculously preserved your life for a purpose. He wanted something to do with Zvi.
So I am sure.
After you came to realize in your own mind after the Battle of Latrun that you were not saved because you were quicker or smarter than your enemies, either in Israel or in Europe, but you began to realize that God must be watching over you. Then the Lord began to bring many people into your life to point you toward faith in the Messiah. One was a woman who gave you a Bible. Where did she come from?
I was the first time I have seen her, and as she told me, she is from Switzerland, yeah. And she told me, you know, first of all, what she asked me, what you are doing here? I was sitting on the bench and asked myself, why I come here? But what has happened? Many times I heard the people spoke about God like this. I was never listening to them, never give attention. But here what come, a lady, and she brought me Bible like this. She told me, read this. I told her, are you crazy? Such big book to read. I never heard a word Bible. And she told me, read this. And when I read from Hebrew, Psalm 27. And here I am reading. Ira v'yishi mimi ira Adonai, ma'os chayai mimi efchad. When my God is with me, from whom I will be afraid. But the most experience what make on me, it was Psalm 27, verse 10, when here is written, Ki avi ve'imi azavuni, v'Adonai yasfeni. When my father and my mother forsake me, so the Lord received me.
And the Lord picks you up.
And he picked me up, and this time I was asking myself, the first time what I take the life so very serious, as never I took it, I asked myself, who protect me in the time of the Holocaust? I brought this Bible to the tent, and I continue to read, long time. But in the tent, you know, near the candles, the small candles, I read, but the soldiers, when they come, when they have seen, here is written open, Tanakh, Torah, and Brit Chadashah. When they saw the Brit Chadashah, that means the New Testament, they told me, this is poison. How you read this?
Yes.
I told them, from this poison, no one die.
Because you found you were reading about another Jew.
Another Jew, and this was Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I have seen in the Bible who saved me, who gave me the courage to continue to live. And this what I have seen in him.
This was a Jew who suffered as you had suffered.
This who suffered as me suffered, as many others, and what he suffered for us all, as is written Isaiah 53.
Now you were beginning to develop such a hunger for the Word of God that you sat in the park in the daytime and read until when?
Until evening. So long I had time, I was reading. And I asked many times myself, who will teach me this? Because by myself I couldn't understand everything. But by faith, this gives me more courage to continue to read.
So as you read the Word of God, and you became more and more convinced and hungry in your heart that you needed Him, you wanted someone to show you the way to the Messiah. And very shortly, God was going to bring someone into your life who could tell you exactly what you needed to hear.
Yes, so it was.
As the war for Israel's survival progressed, Zvi's fearlessness in battle earned him immediate recognition from his superiors. For his bravery, he would be given a job that, he was told by his superiors, allowed for only one mistake. It included defusing and removing enemy landmines and planting explosives for the fledgling Israeli army. It was a task that required stealth, patience, and nerves of steel. Zvi was well qualified for the position. We're standing here looking at the city of Jerusalem. It's a very beautiful view today. In 1948, you saw things very differently.
Yeah.
There was hard fighting around Jerusalem.
It was very hard. Now we can see a nice view. I am looking and I can show for my children. I can show also for my grandchildren. They are happy. But in my time, until we come here to see the view, this cost much blood.
But there were some light moments also.
Yeah.
One of them was when you were put in the stockade for staying away too long, and then what happened?
When I come too late, they catch me to the jail.
You were away without leave, is what we say in the States. Yes.
And of course, I have to be in the jail. And I was with other soldiers, and my friends come visit me, soldiers. I told them, shall they bring me dynamite?
Some dynamite into the prison?
Into the prison, yes, they visit. There's a small finger, and then I blow up the wall, and we run away with the weapon.
You took the guards' guns with you?
With me, yes. And what is happened? When we run away, the guards come, the MP, to the officers, and what they say, we blow up the jail, the wall, and the officers say, how you were watching that he done this? Where is your weapon? They say, we stolen the weapon. So if so, you will go to the jail, Svi is free.
So instead of Svi being in the jail and his friends, the guards did time in the jail because they lost their weapons.
They lost their weapon, you know.
So that was the Israeli army in another day, wasn't it?
This is it, you know. In the army they said, a soldier who was not in jail, he's not a soldier.
With the signing of the final armistice agreement on July 20th, 1949, Israel's War of Independence officially ended. And against all odds, she had emerged the victor. After 10 years of constant struggle, Svi was finally free to live in peace. Freedom in his new land, however, came with a price. All that he owned, he carried with him. His army uniform, a small shaving kit, and the memories of a family he would never see again. To make matters worse, winter was coming and he had no place to live. But after all, he had been in worse situations than this. Bad situations seemed to be a way of life for the young man from Poland. So undaunted, the enterprising Svi set about to find a place to work and to sleep. We're here in front of the President Hotel in Jerusalem. It doesn't look like a fine hotel today, but it once was a grand establishment in this city. After the war in 48 and your service in the Army in 50, you didn't have a place to live, so you checked in at this very hotel.
You know, when I finished the army, so I think to build my future in Jerusalem. I come like everyone who finished the army. Many come to their homes, to their family. I had no one after the Holocaust whom I have myself. So I looked for work, and also I couldn't find the work. It was very bad situation in Israel. So I was looking where I will sleep. I have seen a nice hotel like Hotel President. What can be better, President Hotel? I come inside. And I was thinking maybe they will throw me out, such personality like me. And they register me. And I receive a room. And it was good when I come to the room, a nice room, a paradise. I come in the morning, I eat breakfast, lunch, evenings also. And I take ice cream and cakes, everything they wrote on the number of my room. It was very nice. I feel myself, it cannot be better. After 2 weeks, when I was here in this hotel, come a manager to me, and he asked me, how is the behavior to you? I told him, very nice. How is the food? Very good. So tell me, how long you want to stay in this hotel? So I told him, all the winter. He was smiling, I was smiling also. And he said, I am very happy that you like this hotel. I told him, I am also happy. So tell me, you know, you are 2 weeks here. Yes, I know. So go and pay 2 weeks what you have been, and 2 weeks what you will be. And you can continue to stay here in this hotel. But what is not so well, what is it? I have not 1 cent with me.
Not a penny.
No a penny, nothing. So he was listening to me and thinking maybe I make jokes.
Yeah.
I told him this is true. Wait 1 minute. He come to the telephone, he called the police. Then come 2 policemen and they brought me to my hotel, this means the jail. And I was in the jail also 1 week. After 1 week, I come before the court. And a judge was looking on me and he asked me, what you done? I told him I slept and ate. So he told me 1 month to the prison. I told him, thank you, you are a very nice man, much better as before.
So he was a better judge for giving you a hotel, not the Grand Hotel,
Yes.
but another hotel for 1 month.
The jail was for me a hotel also,
Yes.
because I have not where to go. So I finished 1 month and more. When I come out, start to be warmer because it was very cold this time. And after 1 month, I received also work and a place where to sleep. It was not a home, but in the transit camp, what's called in the Hebrew language, Mabara.
So finally you had a home in Jerusalem, but not in the jail.
Yes, a new home.
After the war, and trying to find a place to live as
Yeah.
a single man,
Yeah,
you finally settled here in Topyot,
yeah,
a short distance from here, a place that's now an industrial center.
yes.
So how was life in the transit camp?
You know, transit camp, it is not a villa. We receive small barracks like other people. There were 15,000 people in a transit camp. No electricity, no water. So we were happy with this, what we had. But what has happened? In the barrack where I was living, 2 boys were living more. One day they told me, Tzvi, is enough. We were working and you was eating. They want, shall I cook? And what can I do? I won't stay in the barrack because all the time I was under the sun, no place, in the prison, and here and there. So I start to cook. What I done, I took 2 kilo, this about 5 pounds of rice.
5 pounds of rice?
Rice, yes. It was also about 4 pounds of beans, a big bottle of oil, put all in the pot, close the pot, put on the fire. So I was thinking where I will go. It is the best to go to cinema for 4-5 hours to spend. The food will be all right. But when I come back, the barrack is gone, is burned. And of course, I was on the wind.
So you found out in the barracks at Topyot that you were a good soldier, but you were a very poor cook.
Until now, I am 38 years married. I never come to the kitchen.
Good idea. An important person who came into your life came to the transit camp into the barracks to do what?
He teach us the Bible, and not me, only other boys. And all was in Hebrew. His Hebrew was very nice. Even our Hebrew was not so strong, but we could understand. But what is happened? After half year long, when we studied the Bible, I come to the first prayer meeting, what we start to pray there, and for me it was some things that I couldn't understand. When the first time when I heard about Jesus Christ, when they pray and to the end they say, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. For me it was something not to understand. I ask myself if I am wrong, if I come to this place. This must be something. So I asked the pastor of this church, what is going here? A Jew can believe in Christ. A Jew who passed the Holocaust, who was persecuted by the Christians, as they call themselves. So the pastor told me, you know, tell me about you in short. And I told him that I am a Holocaust survivor. So he told me, you know, with you I cannot speak in a few minutes. You have to continue to come, and with the time you will understand. And of course I start to come, and this pushed me more and more like a magnet to this place. And what has happened? After this take me about 3 years, that I could understand that the Lord, the Jesus Christ, is my Savior. He changed my life, absolutely changed. And I can see a big joy in my life. This cannot be more. Even someone would give me, I don't know, the biggest treasure, I would not be such happy when I see this, what the Lord blessed me.
As Svi continued to read his Bible and learn about his newfound faith, the Lord would bring two more very important people into his life. The first was Dr. Victor Buxbazen, a Polish Jew who had earlier emigrated to the United States. The two first met at the church in Jerusalem while Dr. Buxbazen was visiting Israel. They struck up an instant friendship, and as time went on, Svi began to look upon his newfound friend as a second father. The other was a beautiful young Persian Jewess named Naomi. For weeks, Svi wanted to ask her to date him, but he also wanted to be perfectly honest about his faith. You see, Jews who believed in Jesus were few and far between in the early days of the nation Israel. Consequently, they were shunned by the majority of the population and severely persecuted by the ultra-Orthodox. Finally, Svi gained enough courage to ask Naomi to come with him to the believers' meeting. She agreed, and after several months, she too would accept Jesus as her Messiah, and almost simultaneously, Svi's proposal of marriage. After you and Naomi were married, you came to this place to find your first home and make a family, but it wasn't a villa.
Of course, this was not a villa. This was one small room without water, without electricity. This was our small kitchen.
Yes.
Here were living 10 people, 12 people, 10 children with the parents in one small room. We were rich because we were living in a small room with one child. You know, even this was a small house, a small room. It was not a house as you think, no kitchen, nothing. But when our daughter is born, after all what we passed together, me and my wife, we were very happy with this, what we had.
And this was actually, you know, at that time in Israel, the way people got started, wasn't it?
This was the standard life of people like me.
Yes. Svi, when you became a believer, you had peace with God, but not peace with some of your neighbors. There was one man particularly who gave you a lot of trouble, didn't he?
I, as a believer, want to have peace with everyone. This is what the Lord teach us, even to pray for those who persecuted you. And I try to do my best for them. But what has happened, he was thinking another way. When in the time when he received to know that I'm a believer, he started to fight against me in many ways.
Now this man was an ultra-Orthodox Jew.
Ultra-Orthodox Jew with a long beard.
Yes.
And he suffered, of course, in the Holocaust also. He lost all his family like me. But he couldn't forget to hate. The hate was not going out from him.
Yes.
And he tried to make me many troubles, and he done to me, to my wife, to my children. But with all this, what is happened to him, I don't know if from heaven, or I don't know how this is happened, that he received a heart attack or something like this. And with all this, what he make me the troubles, I brought him to the hospital.
Now tell me what happened to him. You were in your house, you heard somebody fall.
I heard a big outcry. I come to his home according to the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come to him, I have seen him like a dead fell down from the bed.
Yes.
And I was afraid that I will have troubles from the neighbors, that the neighbors will say that I kill him. But in the time when he opened his eyes, what he said in the Talmudic Hebrew, when he told me, Mechila. Mechila, that means forgive me. So I told him, because I believe in the Lord, I will take you and help you and shall know who bring you to, who give you the help.
Now what happened to his attitude? How did he change after that?
After when I brought him back from the hospital next day, when I come also from work, from my work at home, what I have seen, not more stones and not more fightings. He was the watchman who was watching that no one come and cast stones, and he watched on my children, he feed them like the father of the children. And this time, you know, I forget and forgive.
Yes, and it was the love of Christ that made the difference.
That's what was. And I told him, and after a long time, I gave him also the Bible with the New Testament. He took it as with joy, not as before, and he put it as to his heart, and he told me, thank you.
Yes.
And this was for me as I win all the world.
Yes. Well, you know, that's a wonderful story of what the love of Christ can do in transforming not only an attitude, but we hope a life.
Yes.
See, when all is said and done, I suppose one can say of your life that when you came to the land of Israel, you found a new life in a new land. And I think the capstone on this is, for me, when you looked into the face of your first child, your baby, you named what?
Ruth.
Why did you name her Ruth?
Why the name of Ruth? Because my mother, her name was Ruth. And what she done for me, she gave her life, of course, and I will never forget.
And there's another great evidence of God's grace to you. What was taken away from you in the Holocaust, what did God do for you here in this land?
When I read the book of Job, what the Lord take from him, he gave him back, and plus. So also, I had 3 brothers with 1 sister. We were 4 together. And now, the Lord blessed me with 3 sons and 1 daughter, as it was before. And so I see the complete family.
Yes, so what the Holocaust took away, God in His grace provided and gave you the bonus of a wonderful wife, Naomi.
This what was taken, I received this back.
Yes, and now today, Svi, some 50 years later, you are an outstanding witness to the Messiah on the streets of Jerusalem and all over the world.
You know, as is written in the Mark 16:15, you shall be witnessing to all the world. This is our obligation as believers. We cannot keep the faith inside, because our duty is, as is written, Ezekiel 3:17-19. I make you a watchman for the house of Israel, and we have to warn the people, and the gospel shall come from Jerusalem, as is written Isaiah 2 verse 3.
When you think about this land and your people, the Jewish people, what is your prayer for Israel and for Jewry?
The prayer is for my people Israel, that they will can see the light shall go out from the darkness, as is written in Isaiah 9. Those people who walking in darkness shall see a great light, and the great light they can see only by faith in Christ.
Well, you're certainly making that come true in your life and in the lives of many others as well. Thank you, Svi. It's been a wonderful journey.
Thank you.